everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating story about consciousness, reality, and how one man's entire worldview got completely turned on its head. So let's just jump right in. This quote, it really sets the scene perfectly, doesn't it? We're talking about a man named ShunpeterZ, a Japanese businessman whose very ordinary, grounded life took a truly extraordinary turn. Okay, so to really get just how huge this shift was for him, you gotta understand who he was before all this happened. Let's paint a picture of his world. I mean, look at this. His career was what he himself calls do normal. We're talking super practical, logical stuff, M&A, venture capital, IPO prep. This was not a guy out there looking for mystical answers. He was totally grounded in the material world. So what was the catalyst? What flipped the switch? It wasn't some big business deal or a life crisis. It was something really bizarre. A physical injury just appeared on his body. No accident, no physical cause. And he came to realize it was sparked only by his own powerful internal belief. You know, an experience like that would make anyone question things. And it forced him to ask this one massive question that would change the course of his life forever. A question most of us just brush aside. What if? What if our consciousness is literally creating our reality? And just like that one question kicked off this intense search for answers. But the usual places just weren't cutting it. Yeah, he went down all the rabbit holes you'd expect. He's reading spiritual books, digging into quantum theory, ancient wisdom. He even looked at alchemical texts. And he's soaking all this stuff up. But he said there was always this nagging feeling that something was missing. It wasn't the complete picture. And this, right here, is where the whole story takes a sharp turn. The real breakthrough didn't come from another book or scientific theory. The answer came when he stopped looking out there and started looking in here. He began what he describes as this internal dialogue with a source of information he just calls Z. So this dialogue with Z, it led him to this absolutely brilliant idea, this whole new way of looking at the universe. It's a metaphor, but a powerful one. What if reality itself has a secret operating system, just like your computer? That Z he talks about, it stands for the zero-point field. Now, you might have heard that term from physics, but his definition, it goes way deeper. For him, the ZPF isn't just about energy in a vacuum. It's the fundamental source of consciousness itself. It's like the source code that generates our entire world. And he makes this so easy to understand with this computer metaphor. It's great. So think of it this way. The zero-point field, that's the main operating system, the Windows or Mac OS of reality. And physical reality, everything we see, touch, and experience, that's like an app running on top of that OS. But here's the kicker. Our personal beliefs, he calls them the CSS, the styling code that determines how we see and experience everything. It's the filter. And check this out. This is just how powerful that belief CSS can be. Let's say you have a belief of low self-worth. In code, that might look something like this. Setting your personal opacity to 60%. You literally feel less visible in the world. Or even crazier, what if you have a belief that something is impossible? Well, that could be like a line of code that says display none. The possibility is still there in the source code, but your personal CSS makes it totally invisible to you. Okay, so this naturally leads to the big question that I'm sure you're asking right now. If this powerful operating system exists, how on earth do we access it? And this is what he calls the paradox of access. Right. How do I access the zero-point field? That's the first thing we all want to know. But according to this whole framework, the question itself, it's actually built on a big misunderstanding of what the ZPF even is. He says our normal everyday mind, let's call it the ego OS, is constantly running these little programs in the background. Programs that tell us things like, oh, I'm not ready yet, or I just don't have that ability. It makes us think we need some special training or a secret password. Basically, it frames the ZPF as this separate place that we have to work really hard to get to. But here's the big reveal, the breakthrough moment. Access isn't about going somewhere. The ZPF isn't a destination you travel to. It's just realizing where you already are. You're already there. I love this quote. The feeling that you want to get in is proof that you are already connected. Just think about that for a second. That desire you feel, that curiosity, that pull to connect, that is the connection. He says it's like a fish swimming in the ocean asking, hey, where's the water? The fact that you're even asking the question proves you're already in it. Okay, so if we're already connected, if we're already in the water, what's next? Well, the next logical question is, how do we change those CSS filters? How do we get rid of those limiting beliefs that are messing with how we see reality? He has a really unique name for this process. He calls it Fornix incineration. Now, I know it sounds a little intense, but forget the name for a second and just focus on the concept. It's actually pretty simple. It's the process of dissolving a limiting belief the instant you become truly aware of it. The moment you see it for what it is, just a filter, just a line of code, its power evaporates. It gets incinerated. A great analogy is clearing your browser's cache. You get rid of the old data so you can finally see the updated, real version of the page. All right, let's zoom out for the big finish here. Why does any of this matter, beyond just, our own personal growth? This brings us to the final, really cool idea, a new human choice. ShunpeterZ is super clear about this. He's not trying to start a new religion or sell you on a new belief system. He says his goal is much simpler, to present a new choice for humanity, a new option for how we interact with our world. When you boil it all down, this entire framework is about one single fundamental shift in how you see yourself. It's about choosing to move from a reality where you feel like things are just happening to you, a reality of circumstance, to a reality where you realize you are an active participant, a reality of creation. And that really leaves us with one last powerful thought to take away from all this. If you just entertain this idea for a moment, that your reality is an operating system, and your beliefs are the code that styles it, that leads to a really exciting question, doesn't it? What will you render next?